Hello, everybody. Welcome in here to the Monday, August 31st edition of Trending Politics Live. We have a ton to get into, everybody. We're just going to jump right into it. It was a hectic weekend, to say the least. It was a weekend that was full of a lot of sad events that happened, some ridiculous responses by Democrats, and I'm quite stunned by some of it. So we're going to get right into that, everybody. So bring it all in, everybody. Thank you. We got over 2,400 people, 2,700 people in here live. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining. So first and foremost, let's get right off to the news this morning. As you guys know, there were some violent protests happening in Portland this weekend, and that was something that has been happening for a while now. But Trump supporters went down there just to show their support, and an Antifa member murdered a Trump supporter in cold blood. His name was Jay Bishop. We're going to put him up here on the screen. May he rest in peace. He was not doing anything. It was a targeted attack. I can't show the video here on this live stream, but basically he said, you can hear an Antifa member say, "Hey, there's a Trumpster," and then you immediately hear two shots, and this young man here has passed away. Now, it took somebody getting murdered for Joe Biden to call out the violence. However, we're going to get to his comments here in a little bit. But this morning, and see, guys, this is why I like to do these podcasts a little bit later in the day. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, is because we get some of the morning reaction to some of this stuff. Here's what McEnany said in response to the media just now caring about the violence going on in Portland and the Antifa and left-wing violence.
Interesting to me to see Democrats who once disparaged, who ignored the violence, I should say, all of a sudden caring about it. But let's not forget what they said previously. Speaker Nancy Pelosi downplaying the violence rocking U.S. cities, ignorantly saying people will do what they do. Jerry Nadler, when asked about Antifa, he said that was a myth that's being spread around Washington, D.C. It's not a myth. In fact, an Antifa individual took the life of an innocent Trump supporter in Portland. Yep. You have Rep. Ayanna Pressley saying that she wanted unrest in the streets. Chris Cuomo saying, "Show me where it says protesters are supposed to be peaceful." I'll give you an idea, Chris. It's the Constitution. Don Lemon saying, quote, "The rioting has to stop, Chris, as you know, and I know it's showing up in the polls. It's showing up in the focus groups. It's the only thing right now that's sticking." So now all of a sudden, 90 days later, I from this podium have talked about law and order. The president has talked about law and order repeatedly, but because the polling has shifted, now it's time for the Democrats to deny what they said previously and all of a sudden focus on law and order. I'll leave you with this. That's like the arsonist blaming the firefighter.
And she walks off like a total boss. That right there could not have summarized the last few weeks any better. The Democrats didn't give a damn about violence going on in Portland. They didn't give a damn about when the courthouse was on fire. They don't care when Molotov cocktails are being thrown at police officers. But now, last week, when CNN made a big deal about it and says, "Hey, it's showing up in the polls. We got to start talking about the violence." Now they want to talk about the violence. George Floyd passed away in late May, and the violence started right away. So they had all of June, all of July, and it's now August 31st. And you finally have the Democrats coming along and saying, "Oh, no, we're against violence." But here's the kicker, is that Joe Biden isn't even calling out Antifa by name. Antifa murdered a Trump supporter this weekend, yet Joe Biden doesn't call out Antifa. Antifa has been branded as an anti-fascist movement. Look at, guys, that's their name, but that's the genius in the left wing's ability to name things. Black Lives Matter, but they don't focus on all Black lives. But when we take their name literally, they weaponize the Black Lives Matter name against us in a broad fashion. Antifa means anti-fascist. It means that we're just opposing fascists. That's all we're doing. No, that's not it. They're a domestic terrorist group. Pro-choice. No, it's more like pro-abortion and pro-murder is what you're doing. The left has done this for years. They have very, very meticulously named their movements and named different things so that it doesn't feel as brutal on the front end. So Antifa is not anti-fascist. So Joe Biden trots out there this morning. He releases some BS statement over the weekend, and then this morning he gives a speech. And I swear, nobody in the world is believing the words that he says. So try not to cringe as you watch these videos, as you watch this clip from Joe Biden, because trust me, nobody in America believes what this man is actually saying. The bottom line is that he's only saying all of this because his poll numbers are falling like a rock. Check this out.
Very clear about all of this. Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. Setting fires is not protesting. None of this is protesting. It's lawlessness, plain and simple. And those who do it should be prosecuted. Violence will not bring change. It'll only bring destruction. It's wrong in every way. It divides instead of unites. Destroys businesses, only hurts the working families that serve the community. It makes things worse across the board, not better. No, it's not what...
I can't even finish it here because it makes me so infuriated to see him saying this now, only because the polling numbers are showing, because callers are calling into C-SPAN after the RNC saying, I don't like the Democrat Party because they didn't talk about the damn violence the entire time during the during the DNC. They didn't care about violence. They didn't care about looting. They didn't care about people being harassed on the streets. But now that the poll numbers are falling, CNN is in a panic. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in a panic because they don't want to lose this election. And they thought, oh my God, wait a minute. All these months of downplaying the riots and basically downplaying the looting is actually hurting our poll numbers now, and we can see it. Oh my God. What happens if the poll numbers wouldn't have come out? What would have happened if the poll numbers would have not said this? Then Joe Biden would probably still be out there chanting it on, cheering it on. Hey, we got to fight for social justice. This is a historic moment in our country. Makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. So Joe Biden makes this speech and releases a statement over the weekend. And look what the liberal media does right away. I mean, they are just his megaphone. This is what Axios, how they characterized it. Read the headline right here. Biden condemns violence on all sides after Portland shooting. See this BS? They say Trump failed to condemn violence on both sides in Charlottesville, even though he did. And now they're saying Biden condemns violence on all sides. No, he didn't. He did not call out Antifa by name, who is going up to people, shooting them and murdering them in the streets. And Jason Miller appropriately says here, must be nice to have the mainstream media for a rapid response team. No mention of Biden failing to call on Wheeler, the Portland mayor, to allow federal help in Portland. No mention of Biden refusing to condemn Antifa. No mention of the Democrat convention failing to condemn chaos and criminals. You guys, Joe Biden did not condemn Antifa. Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, refused federal help several times. He told President Trump to stop terrorizing Portland. Well, now look it. Now a Trump supporter just got murdered in cold blood, and now Joe Biden wants to talk about it. Now Ted Wheeler is starting to is thinking about accepting federal help. This is some of the most disgusting, despicable turn of events I've ever seen in my life, and they're doing it all for the poll numbers. President Trump has been calling out the violence for months now, and the media has said, oh, he's gassing peaceful protesters. No, we haven't. We've been gassing the Antifa, and yeah, I'm sure there may have been some peaceful people that have been caught up in that. But you know what? These people who are setting fire to buildings, people who are throwing fireworks and groups of cops and all this, these are not peaceful protesters. Well, Joe Biden couldn't even get through his speech of reading from a freaking transcript without stumbling. This man is reading from a transcript, and look at the troubles he's having here. He can't even speak.
It has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
Wait, what? Excuse me. I'm sorry, Joe. Can you say that please one more time? I have no idea what you were trying to say there.
It has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look,
100
here's
years.
the lives. When you think about it.
Think about it. Okay. Joe, thinking about it is the understatement of the year, because we could think on it for 3 hours and nobody in the world will know what the hell you just said. Guys, this we got to reelect President Trump in 2020, you guys. This man taking control of the White House literally should strike fear into every single person's insides. This is getting ridiculous, guys. This guy can't even read from a transcript. And the only reason that he completed his DNC speech a couple weeks ago is because he had 5 days to practice it. They probably wrote that speech and he was probably practicing it like 3 times a day. And to be totally honest, that speech was probably recorded in the first place. And they probably just took the best cut from it. And of course, as you can expect, Joe Biden failed to take any questions this morning. Can you guys imagine if President Trump would have given a major press conference and didn't take questions? Look, you don't even have reporters really shouting him down for questions. Check this out. You guys know that when President Trump ends a press conference and he doesn't take questions, about 50 reporters are shouting things at him. Joe Biden doesn't take questions, and you hear a couple reporters saying, "Oh, about Kenosha." Okay, all right, he's leaving. This should make every single person sick that the media is kowtowing to the Democrat Party as always. They're kowtowing to Joe Biden. They're sucking up to him in all the worst ways. They are in bed with the Democrat Party. It's absolutely ridiculous, people. It is absolutely freaking ridiculous. And you know, you guys, we shouldn't be surprised at the violence. We shouldn't be surprised that Rand Paul he very well could have died on Thursday night if he wasn't surrounded by DC police. We shouldn't be surprised that Vernon Jones was harassed by left-wing protesters. We shouldn't be surprised that Trump supporters are getting murdered in broad daylight. Because look what Maxine Waters said a couple years ago. Just look straight from her mouth, you guys.
See anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station. You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
The Congresswoman pushing more division in an
She also went on to say, get in their face, make them uncomfortable. Well, guess what? Now you have people getting in their face and damn near killing people. This is what the Democrat Party has become, people. And it makes me sick to my stomach. And you guys, if Trump loses in 2020, this kind of violence will not only be normalized, but a Biden administration would not call it out. The only reason he's calling it out right now is because it's affecting his poll numbers. But when he doesn't need the poll numbers, and when all he has is the keys to the White House, he'll be silent on this. And attacks and murders against Trump supporters are going to be encouraged and not talked down from a Biden administration. You know, people scoffed at Scott Adams a couple weeks ago, the creator of Dilbert. I'm going to try to get him on the show again. People scoffed at him when he said that that if Biden were to win, it would be open season on Trump supporters. That Trump supporters would be hunted. Well, nobody's laughing now because that's exactly what's happening. And if you think that it won't be open season on Trump supporters if Biden gets in, think again. This is what's happening in the streets of America. There was actually shots fired not too far from me in Los Angeles at a Trump rally. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hit. Thank God. But you guys, It should not be a death sentence to vote for Trump, and that is what we're starting to see. We have to vote for President Trump. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, vote for President Trump. Vote in person, because things could get very bad, people. Things could get very, very bad here. One other story before I reach into my final story, everyone. Over the weekend, Bill Maher was interviewed by Joy Reid on MSNBC. And remember, everyone, Bill Maher is someone who periodically says something that, Bill Maher periodically says things that are true. He periodically says things that are actually legit. And here he's admitting that he is nervous about the 2020 election, that he is nervous that the Democrats are going to lose again. Bill Maher also said that he thought President Trump was going to win in 2016. Check out what he has to say.
Yeah, it was very effective. I saw that one gentleman, I think he was the Attorney General. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, African-American gentleman, and he was pushing back on Joe Biden, saying, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. And I don't think that is a good thing for Joe Biden to have said. He said, I have my own mind. Now, I don't get what's that reasoning, but I don't get, people do have their own minds. I have never been a fan of conformity. I have never been a fan of we all wear pink on Wednesday. We all have to do this. We all have to say this. We all have to do this then. I don't bend the knee. And I get that people are pushing back on that kind of stuff. So, look, like I was just saying, I feel very nervous. Yeah. The same way I did 4 years ago at this time. So, look, like I was just saying, I feel very nervous. Yeah. The same way I did.
So, as you can see, guys, he's talking about Daniel Cameron, who's the Kentucky Attorney General, who said, Joe Biden, you said if people don't vote for you that you ain't black. Well, I am black, sir. He said, I have my own mind. And Bill Maher didn't appear to know what the Attorney General was talking about there, but it's because Joe Biden said that unlike the African-American community, the Latino community is very diverse with many different attitudes about many different things. Well, the African-American community has that as well. Joe Biden doesn't seem to think so. And the Democrats absolutely believe that all black people vote and they vote and think the same. They vote and think the same. That's what they think. And so Bill Maher didn't seem to understand that. But I'm telling you, everyone, Democrats are about to get a rude awakening, an absolutely rude awakening here in November. And even Michael Moore is starting to see it again. So stay tuned on that, everyone. We're going to keep talking about that. The last thing I want to talk about, as many of you guys heard, over the weekend, the CDC quietly announced new coronavirus numbers saying that 94% of COVID-related deaths had underlying medical condition called comorbidities, such as influenza, hypertensive disease, diabetes, and cardiac arrest. So how do we read that another way? Is that 6%, only 6% of the people who have died from the coronavirus have died solely because of the coronavirus. All right? So the Democrats are out there treating this like this is the Black Plague. But the bottom line is that only 6% of the people who have gotten who have died from the coronavirus have died solely because of the coronavirus. Now, this news should be front page news, but of course only the right-wing news is really pushing this, all right? This has huge implications, though. We all knew that if you're in a high-risk category, you shouldn't be taking too many risks. Okay, we all understood that. But the media was making it feel like, oh my God, it's a death sentence if you get the coronavirus. But it's clearly not. If you are a healthy person with no underlying conditions and no comorbidities, then you should be able to proceed Proceed life in a safe manner. If you need to, wear a mask. Depending on where you live, that's probably mandatory. But you guys, the fact that the media have treated this like the plague of death just because it would hurt Trump is something that they should absolutely not get away with. All right? The CDC is telling us that 94% of the people who are dying because they have pre-existing conditions. Well, then let's protect the people in the high-risk category with pre-existing conditions, but let the rest of the world, and if you're watching this with a pre-existing condition, this is not a shot at you. This is just saying that there's a lot of people who still need to get back to work. There's still a lot of people. There is college football that people want to see played. There are sports. Kids need to go back to school. Life needs to go on. We can protect those at the highest risk, meanwhile continuing life in the American economy and the American way of life. But the Democrats and Joe Biden want to keep America shut down. Joe Biden already said he would do that he would keep America shut down. We can't accept it anymore, people. We can't accept it anymore. So please let me know in the comments below, everybody, what you think about that story. Let me know what you think about the entire episode today. Today's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. There's so much to cover, and I wanted to hit through all the different points here, but there's a lot more to cover in the rest of the day that we're going to get through on trendingpolitics.com, everyone. So please make sure to go visit us over here at trendingpolitics.com. If you would like some pro-Trump merchandise, make sure to go to ilovemyfreedom.com. We've got amazing shirts, hats, patriotic face mask. If you want to go into that voting booth on November 3rd, then wear your Trump face masks as well, everyone. So, everybody, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Wanted to just get this quickly out of here so we can start our week off on the right foot. You guys are all amazing. If you're watching this on YouTube, we just hit 7,200 subscribers. We're trying to hit 10,000 by the end of next week. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell for whenever we go live. If you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you're liking this and commenting so that Facebook knows to show us in your newsfeed. Okay, everyone? So appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are all amazing. Have a great rest of your Monday. But the fun is not over for the day yet. Go to trendingpolitics.com, download our mobile app. We're uploading stories all day, everyone. So I'll be talking to you guys very soon. I will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Everyone have an amazing rest of your Monday.